No one likes a full table scan. They're slow, and they only get slower the larger your tables become. If you're running a full table scan over a huge table, that's precious CPU and other system resources that could have been better spent on something more important, especially if you're running a managed service like CockroachDB Cloud Basic tier, where you're paying based on request units. In that scenario, you might want to limit or entirely prevent full table scans. And today, I'll show you how to do that. Let's hop over to a terminal. I'll start a local CockroachDB cluster. I'll create a table to store products. Note that I have an index on the name, but not the price. And I'll create a user and grant it access to the product table. Next, I'll generate 100,000 products and run some queries. I haven't enabled any settings to prevent full table scans yet. First, I'll look for a product based on its name. This will use the name index. And next, I'll perform a search based on the price. So looking for all products where the price is between 10 and 15. And that returned 5,174 rows. Under the covers, it would have been performing a full table scan, and I can see that from this explain. So there's a full table scan over 100,000 rows, 100% of the table, and CockroachDB is recommending that I create an index on the price column. And this is very sensible because it's a price column on a product table. Your users are very likely to want to search for products based on their price. But for the purposes of this demo, I won't apply the index. Now I'll disallow full table scans for all roles. You can apply this at a specific role level or just for all roles. For example, you might have a role that performs more analytical queries, or you might want to allow specific roles to perform full table scans. It's up to you. If I have a look at the role settings for the Rob user, we'll see that the disallow full table scans is now on. If I run the same queries again, the name query continues to run as it did before because that's using an index, but this time the price query will fail, and that's because I've disallowed full table scans. And there's another setting that comes into effect, and that's called the large full scan rows. If I show you that, you'll see that by default CockroachDB sets it to 0, effectively disabling full table scans as soon as you apply the disallow full table scans setting. This is okay for most of our users, and some of our biggest customers asked that we completely disable full table scans by defaulting this value to 0. Sometimes CockroachDB will prefer a full table scan over a small table, simply because it's the fastest way to scan that table. So it might be worth, in your use case, tweaking this setting to allow for full table scans over small tables. Let's do that now. I know that my table has 100,000 rows, so if I allow full table scans over, let's say, 1 million rows, and run the same query again, this time the query works, but tables over 1 million rows in size will still be blocked. We can also use the show full table scans query to see how many times we've made various types of full scan queries. And in this instance, we've made 2 full table scans for our product table based on the price, and each of them read 100,000 rows. I'll reset that value back to 0 just to prevent full table scans once more. And I'd like to point out that there are other ways of performing the price query without having to enable full table scans or increase the limit to 1 million rows. And you can do this by filtering on a table that is indexed to limit the number of rows in a query, and then filtering on the price column. Let me show you. This query first filters on the product name and then filters on the price. And that works just fine. In CockroachDB, you can prevent users from running full table scans and save resources, or if you prefer, you can enable full table scans just over smaller tables, all resulting in predictable query latency and reduced system resource wastage.